Hello friends, myself Dr. M. K. Gokru, Department Mathematics, Government College Ajmer. In my earlier lecture, we proved some theorem or results related to cosets of a subgroup, cosets. And finally, we proved this Lagrange's theorem. Order of each subgroup of a finite group is the divisor of the order of the group. Today we are going to prove some corollaries of it. First one of them is order of each subgroup. Instead of each subgroup, order of each element. Order of each element of a finite group is the divisor of the order of the group. Now, this is related to element of a group, order of each element. So, this theorem relates with the element of a finite group. Say this is a finite group G having some elements like this. These are the elements of the group. Let us take an arbitrary element A belongs to G. A may be this one, any one of these. A is an arbitrary element of G, and we prove this theorem with the help of our Lagrange's theorem. This is the corollary of this. So we try to develop a subgroup of it. So let us consider the set H such that its elements are A square, A cube, A raised to the power n. These are the elements of the subset. These are the elements derived from this element G. First of all, we prove that this is a subgroup, and if it is a subgroup of G, then we can use the Lagrange's theorem. So, first, all elements of this follows the closure property. How? Say AI is any of these elements and AJ is another element of these. So AI, AJ is nothing but AI plus J. But these are the M elements. So, with the help of division algorithm, we can write A raised to the power MQ plus R, where I plus J, A raised to the power MQ plus R. By the division algorithm, I plus J is nothing but MQ. After M elements, there is a repetition. So MQ plus R, and this I can write AM is equal to identity AM raised to the power Q and A raised to the power R. This I can write AM is identity. This is not an empty set, non-void set. Because identity is there, we define in such a way that A is an element of G, so A is the element of H. This is the A is the element of H, therefore H is non-void. And any two elements, operation of any two elements gives another result. This I can call identity raised to power Q and A raised to power I, and this is EAR and this is AR. Means AR belongs to H. AR, where R is naturally 0 is less than or equal to R is less than M. R is less than M, and hence AR belongs to H. So its a closure property holds good for H. And all elements of H are written in the powers of A, and with the help of cyclic group we can say this is a cyclic group, subgroup. With the help of the study of our about cyclic groups, we can say it is a subgroup. Again, no two elements of it are distinct. All elements of it are distinct. Means no two elements are equal. Let us suppose on the contrary, AI is equal to AJ are two elements of it, and these two elements are equal. These two elements are equal and it is a subgroup. So AJ belongs to H implies A raised to the power minus J belongs to H. Therefore, we can operate it with A raised to the power minus J. This is equal to AJ, where J is less than or equal to J is less than I, and A minus J is less than I is 0 is less than or equal to N. So A raised to power J raised to power minus J gives us identity, and this gives us the result AI minus J is equal to identity. But we know I minus J is less than I minus J is less than M, and an element with less power of M is the least one, order of this A, we should say order of this say N, and order of G is N, as we assumed it earlier. So order of each finite subgroup, so we assume that order of G is N, as in Lagrange's theorem, and order of A is M. And if it means the least number M, which gives us A raised to power M, gives us the identity, and this is the least number which gives the first time the identity. Therefore, this number I minus J is less than M gives us identity. It means I is equal to this means I minus J must be equal to 0. And if I minus J is equal to 0 means I is equal to J, and if I is equal to J means these two elements are our supposition, these two elements, this is not possible, I minus J, and our supposition is wrong. So each and every element of this are distinct. So number of elements in it are n. Number of elements in this subgroup are n. Now using the Lagrange's theorem, we know order of G and order of H is equal to K integer. K is an integer and K is a positive integer rather to say, and order of H, since H is naturally lesser number, H possesses the lesser number, therefore, and here we prove that order of A is equal to N and this is equal to order of H. So instead of order of H, I can write order of G upon order of A is equal to K. And order of G is nothing but N, order of A is N is K. So N is equal to Nk gives us the proof of our theorem, our corollary, that order of each element completely divides the order of the group. This is the theorem. Again, we prove some more corollaries if A is an element of finite group G of order n, means A1 से A2 से A3 से are the elements of AR से are the elements of AS से are the elements of this group, and order of the group is n. Order of group is n. Then every power of element, every power of each element, the caller is A is an element of the group G, order group G of order n, then A raised to the power n must be equal to identity. For example, we can take an example 1 omega square and multiplication. This is the group. We know order of 1 is 1, order of omega is 3, order of omega is 3 means omega cube is equal to 1, gives us identity, and omega square is equal to order of omega square is 3. Order of each element, order of each element, nth power of each element means nth power of 1, nth power of 1, nth means here 3, order of group is 3, so 1 raised to the power 3 gives us identity. Omega raised to the power 3 gives us identity. Omega square raised to the power 3 gives us identity. This is the practical example, and we have to show that if A1 is an element, A2 is an element, A3 is an element, or we can say A square, A cube, A4 are the elements of this group, then A raised to the power 2 raised to the power n will also be gives us identity. And from earlier corollary we see this result. Order of A is n, and n is a m.
होल्ड पे डाल दो यहाँ.
Sorry, due to the interruption of light problem. Now I may continue. So we are talking about the order of every element, or order of the group is n, and for every element, every element belonging to G, A belongs to G, we will get A raised to the power n is equal to identity. Through this example we have seen this one, and in our earlier corollary we proved that order of G over order of A is equal to K. Means if order of A is n, order of G is n, then n by m is equal to k, and n is equal to, thus n is equal to mk. And A raised to the power n is nothing but A raised to the power n k, and this I can write A raised to the power n k, and A raised to the power m, order of A is e, so A raised to the power n is equal to identity A raised to the power k, and this gives identity. So for every element of G, if we take A raised to the power n, since A is arbitrary, A raised to the power n always gives us the identity. This what we have proved in this example also. Now, last corollary for this, if a group is of prime order, if a group is of prime order, then there will be no proper subgroup. There will be no proper subgroup. Means if a group possesses 3 element, 5 element, 7 element, 11 element, 13 element, 17 element, means a prime number. Number of elements are prime. Then there will be no proper subgroup. On the contrary, let us suppose a proper subgroup. Suppose M is a prime number. M is a prime number. It's a group order of G is N and M is a prime number. Then we know order of, from Lagrange's theorem, order of G upon order of H is equal to K, and order of G is prime N and order of H will be equal to K. But we know the factor division of any number with N always gives is a prime number. Its factor are 1 and M only. No other factor. So this number will be either 1 or M, no other number. So a subgroup of a group of prime order will be a improper group, not a proper group. And last example of it related to Lagrange's theorem, H, the converse of Lagrange's theorem, converse of Lagrange's theorem does not hold. On that day, when I proved Lagrange's theorem, I gave an example that if order of the group is n, order of the group is n, say it is 12, then its factor are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 12. 4, 6 and 12. And our Lagrange's theorem says order of the subgroup of a finite group divided of the order of the group. Means order of subgroup divides order of the group, and it is a number k, integer. But on the contrary, if group having an order n and its divisor are these, group having order 12 and its divisor are these, then not necessarily a subgroup of this order may not exist. A subgroup of this order may exist or may not exist. But a subgroup of order 3 always divides this one. But division of this may give us a subgroup or may not give us a subgroup. For example, set of permutations for P4, say P4, for 4 numbers, 4 integers, 1, 2, 3, 4, say. So total number of permutations for these 4 numbers will be factorial 4 and will be equal to 24. And out of these 24 permutations, 12 are even permutation, and 12 are odd permutations, which we have proved earlier. And of these 12 even permutation, this will be a group. Set of these 12 permutation is a group. Means order of this group is 12. Order of this group is 12, and there may exist subgroup. There may exist subgroup of order 1, order 2, order 3, but order 4 and order 6 and order 12. 1 and 12 are identity and itself are subgroups. Now, it is not necessary that a set up from these 12 numbers, it is not possible to get a subgroup of order 6 here. Order 6, there does not exist a subgroup of order 6 of this group. So, reverse of the Lagrange's theorem or converse of Lagrange's theorem does not hold. This can be proved with the help of this example. Thank you very much for today.